Hello, everyone from across the world and in Hong Kong. Welcome, welcome, welcome to the 2020 Hong Kong Wine and Dine Festival. Go live! And the best thing about this time is we're really live. We can touch each other through the screen, and you can watch us again and again and again. And all the masterclasses, you can watch them again and again and again through our archive on masterclasses.discoverhongkong.com. And what you can do, which is really cool, is you can get the ingredient list, go and buy the ingredients, go home and cook it together. Like we're there with you. We're right there with you. So, did you have a chance to watch Shirley cook her vegan apple pie this morning? And if you didn't, go on to masterclasses.discoverhongkong.com. All right, so today's theme is really cool. I have the honor of working together with this amazing chef. The theme of today is beauty and the feast, which is exactly really what it is. This amazing chef loves to take things that are super ordinary and turn them into the most beautiful artworks that we can eat. It's amazing. So let me introduce you to the Michelin star chef, Vicky Lau. Ladies and gentlemen, Vicky Lau.
Hello, hi
Chef
everyone.
extraordinaire. Thank you.
Thank you.
And what are you going to teach us to cook today?
We have something very delicious. It can be vegetarian. Other than the chicken stock, we're working with a lot of local ingredients. We are in the autumn season, autumn/winter, so a lot of mushrooms are available in the market. So I thought this would be such a hearty dish for this weather.
Yeah, I think 即係而家天氣開始涼翻啦，係要飲啲湯噶啦，right? You gotta nourish the chills out of you, right?
Yeah, exactly.
All right, so let's go to the ingredient list.
Yeah. So for the main ingredients, we have a lot of mushrooms. Mushrooms can be found in the market. Today we'll be using a lot of oyster mushrooms and some butter mushrooms, brown mushrooms, shallots, leek, butter, short grain rice, and some cream, chicken broth and salt and pepper. And for marinating the egg, we have soy sauce, sake, mirin, salt, dried shiitake mushroom, some Sichuan pepper, and brown sugar. And then to coat the egg, we have egg wash, flour, and panko.
Nice. And what I notice about you, 即係好多人都未必知啊，其實咧，Vicky 咧，佢中意攞啲本地嘅材料去煮 fine dining，係咪呢個係你個 philosophy 嚟嘅？
係啊，I think it's so important to work with what we have around us because nowadays ingredients more important than anything. We have to be aware of the environment, of our weather, see what's available, and be sustainable as much as possible. And I think dining at home as well is very important to think about that.
Yeah.
And to always cook something that's easily available at the market and something that you can keep in the fridge that you can eat all day long is very nice.
Well,
yeah.
Mary from Vancouver, thank you, Mary from Vancouver. We're reading your stuff. If you want to tell us what's going on or ask us any question, ask Chef Vicky any questions, please just send them on in the chat box. And Mary from Vancouver, thank you for saying Vicky is so pretty.
Thank you.
She is. She's the beauty in the feast. So I will not 阻住你做嘢. Please start the demo.
Okay, so let's start with the soup. We have 4 main steps, and we'll start with the mushroom soup. So I'll come over here, and we have a bit of starting some fire here, some heat.
所以我見到你用明火嘅係你 chef 嚟講係你嘅 preference 啦，去用明火 or you just
Sometimes when I'm stir frying, I like the heat to be a bit higher, so it's easier to control with the 明火. I think it's better sometimes. And when I boil things, I like it on the induction because I don't have to watch it. Like you can step away for a little bit, and also for frying is good on induction, so you don't have to worry about spilling the oil, etc.
Yeah, so just wipe it up. It's
yeah.
super easy.
So a bit of heat now. I'll add the butter.
Oh yeah, that's a
Can
really.
brown a little
I mean,
bit.
that's a really small flame for this wok to get so much heat.
Yeah.
This is a pretty good wok, I have to say.
And then we start off with some shallots. I love adding shallots and everything because it gives depth to any dish, and especially soup and sauces, and actually really anything.
And
Shallot
this time
oil
you've
is the
used,
best.
banana shallots
Yes,
or
banana
我哋叫
shallots.
係咪大笨象菇大笨象 something something. I don't know. I got that wrong maybe, but I think in Chinese we call it 大笨象乾葱.
Yeah,
Right?
I've heard of that.
Okay.
Yes, and I like to slowly add in the salt, so we are building flavors. In doing that, we are also breaking down the shallots slowly, and so that we don't have to boil for such a long time. Next, we add in the leeks that we have cut. So leeks is also another ingredient that is very good to have, especially in like a vegetarian dish, because it gives a lot of flavor. Like leek, shallot, onion, these are things that you cannot miss having at home, and especially in a dish like that.
我覺得法國菜咧係一定會有即係乾葱啦，一定會有啦。咁呢啲京葱一定會有啦。咁但係其實都喺日本菜式裏面咧，都經常會見到呢樣嘢去做一個味道嘅底咯，係嘛？
係。
咁你都我知道你起你底先，咁你係中意有啲日本嘅 influence 啊，有啲法國嘅煮嘢食嘅 foundation 啦，跟住就香港人啦，咁就 merge 呢三樣嘢，係咪依然都係咁啊？定係你開始 progress 去做第二啲嘢？
依然都係咁樣，因為其實我覺得煮嘢食味道就係、其實係完全係另一個 language 嚟㗎啦。You can 即係 I mean there's no limit, and we're just using whatever is best around the world, and which is the best. And it's so much fun to be using the best ingredients everywhere, and discover how are the Japanese making the soup, how's the Chinese making the soup, who's making it better for this recipe. In cooking there's no better. It's just what's better for the recipe that you're using, and the thing that you're cooking for, and what your final result is. So I think it's good to have this knowledge to see what everyone else is doing, what ingredients is that they have, and how they're using it.
So 我哋叫 sweat， 我哋 sweat 咗，we sweated the ingredients 啦，我哋係慢慢去煮啲材料，跟住就。
And sometimes I add a little bit of liquid, so that it helps to break down a little bit more, and so you don't burn. It's also important that in this part that you poke everything in to the center, kind of swipe it all in to the center.
So there's a question online.
So that it doesn't burn.
Do we really need this many onions, or can we get away with less?
You can get away with less, but if you don't like it, but it's really not that much. It really gives complexity to the dish. When you add this onion and shallots, it's give that sweetness, and you don't need to add a lot of meat to it to get a lot of flavor. So onion is kind of like the meat in the dish, if you may. Yeah.
Oh, I like that. I like that. I'm going to steal that and use that one day. All right, so let's talk about like your culinary journey. You originally you were born here, you went to the States, and then you did school in the States, and you did design.
Yeah.
So how from design to food, what happened in between?
I've always enjoyed creating things, and food is such a lovely thing that it touches all the senses. For me, design was a lot of fun, but I just want people to enjoy it with their senses as well, other than with the eyes.
Yeah.
So it's been so much fun.
If you have an opportunity to come and eat at TATE, it is from the moment that you enter into the space, it is a sensory experience. It's a very well designed space. It's very appealing. It almost makes your appetite, it kickstarts the appetite when you sit down and you get really, really into it. I think you've designed the space really, really well, and the food is just so beautiful, but not just beautiful, tasty as well, which is fantastic because sometimes we get really beautiful food, but it just doesn't taste too good.
Thank you.
So if you have a chance, go to TATE. So what are we doing next?
So this is sweating quite nicely, and I'll just add it into this pan while I'll boil everything. So I like to cook the vegetables separately. That's also a good way because to control the vegetable, to have different cooking time and different methods, it's good to cook it all separately and then add it together.
And how do we season each separately or?
Yeah. And now I'm gonna stir fry some mushroom, which I've cut up a bunch of different kinds of mushrooms.
So all local.
Yeah, all local.
咁你最中意邊隻菇？有冇
我最中意
preference 啊？
邊隻
你有冇同啲菇話？
其實我最中意
You are my
其實係 shiitake mushroom
啊
dried or fresh
冬
ones。
菇
冬菇係
係
係啊。
咁點解咧？
I like the flavor. It's got so much depth to it. The taste, and it's very meaty. Like
Yeah.
it's satisfying. It's just satisfying. Like shiitake mushroom with some soy sauce is. Come on,
Yeah,
you can't
yeah.
beat that.
I can-
It's
just when you
it's
said
just
it-
what nature gave us.
My
so,
brain is
yeah.
there and I'm eating it. See,
Yeah.
the beauty of description is amazing. So you're in 2015, you were awarded Asia's #1 female chef. And I was excited. I was really excited about that because that was the first time that San Pellegrino did that. And you got it. And I was very excited for you.
Thank
and
you.
I know that from then on, you're really celebrating the female chef by doing like a four hands dinners with female chefs from all over the world.
Yeah.
Tell me about that philosophy and
Yeah,
how
I
that drives
really
you.
got in the career without thinking too much about it. But then being in the industry that is very male dominant,
Sorry.
a lot of people came to me and talk about this female chef thing. Like, how do I feel about being a female chef, and how do we encourage people to be in it? And slowly it dawned on me that I have the responsibility to actually encourage more people and also like talk about how my experience was. And so far it's been really amazing because I have chefs from all over the world that come to my restaurant because they are female, from Paris, from Japan, all over. So I love chatting with them, and it's great to talk about that and collaborate with them.
Yeah, and you're able to, because you're doing it with international chefs, you're able to sort of even create more of a global reach for your philosophy, which I find is amazing. Yeah, apologetically, this industry is male dominated. So 有冇 tips？ 有冇啲咩特別嘅 tips 可以俾啲即係後生嘅女廚師咧去捱我哋呢行？I mean, any tips that you can give to the younger generation of female chefs that they can, deal with people like me?
The truth is, male or female, the advice is the same, is to work hard and to learn everything that you need to know in the industry, and to work in a team, and to pay attention to everything around you. Being a male or female is the same. The only thing that I like giving advice to female chefs is don't be afraid to ask for a raise, for a higher position. Don't be afraid to manage people. A lot of times in Asia, that tends to happen, and it's a little bit harder to be in the management in the kitchen when you are afraid to speak up. Yeah.
Be more vocal about
be more
where
vocal.
you want to be.
Exactly.
That's really important. I think I understand. I am not a female, but yes, all the female viewers do that. Okay, another question from the audience. Thank you, audience, for asking questions. If you want to ask questions, please use the chat box, and we will answer as many as we can possibly answer. And Kritika, hopefully I pronounced your name properly, Kritika, is asking if we can use red onions, and what can we use to replace leeks if leeks are not readily available?
Red onions, yes, you can, but it's a little bit more spicy, so I would limit the amount for that. As for leeks, you can use onions. Yeah, that could be a good replacement. And also scallion is good. I mean, scallion's always available also in the Chinese market, which is.
網民就問咧，可唔可以用紅嘅洋葱啦，或者如果冇京葱嘅話咧，可以用咩咧？咁就可以用翻啲可以用紅洋葱，但係冇用太多，因為有啲辣。同埋如果你冇京葱嘅話咧，可以用普通葱，即係 spring onions 就得㗎啦。Yeah.
So next we're gonna add in a bit of rice actually. So the reason why we add the rice is to thicken the soup because there's no thickener in this soup like potato, and actually mushroom is made of a very high percentage of water, so it can be quite liquid. If you want a little bit of a bitey, how do you say it, like a little bit of viscous texture, it's good to add a bit of rice to boil it together. To give it a starch, and it's got lots of nutrients. And for this recipe, you don't even need to eat it with rice. I mean, it's a meal in itself. Everything. You've got like chicken broth, all the nice vegetables, some rice, and the egg, and it's super fulfilling from breakfast to lunch to dinner.
哇！咁呢個係好百搭嘅一餐嚟嘅。咁就廚師咧就放咗啲已經洗好咗嘅米啦，係日本米嚟嘅。
日本米又得，鮮苗米又得，嚟喺屋企。
啲 short grain 就得㗎啦。咁就放啲米落去啦，因為咧要有種厚啲嘅感覺嘅，令到個湯咧就冇咁稀，跟住就食落去嗰陣時咧就會再 satisfy 啲嘅。
呢個好多時我如果用煮啲菜嘅湯，我都會咁樣做法。咁即係有陣時你唔想落薯仔，因為薯仔咧可能會易啲燶咯，米就冇咁易燶。
All right.
So we're just gonna bring this to a boil and slowly simmer until everything breaks down. For the next step, we will do the marinade for the egg. You can also not marinate your egg if you don't have a lot of time, but it's just really nice to get all the flavor, kind of like ramen egg, to have that very flavorous egg inside in the white. In the
I
white
know exactly.
Yeah.
When you're describing it, I'm like, my brain is like, I taste what you're describing.
And we'll keep the egg yolk runny. So in that, we have to boil an egg. So, but let's make the marinade first.
Okay.
So the marinade here, we'll add some water with a little.
即係你嘅意思就係話，我哋會烚隻蛋啦，跟住我哋就會攞出嚟，跟住就醃已經半生熟嘅蛋。
係啦，係啦。
So nice。即係其實嗰個 extra step 咧係好味好多。
係啊，同埋你呢個可以整定咯。咁其實有陣時嗰啲烚蛋咧，你醃完之後，you can leave it in the fridge and for a few days. Like after you marinate it, you can take it out and.
總之唔好拆個殼咯，係啦。
呢個拆咗殼嘅，呢個拆咗殼。不過如果你係唔拆殼嗰啲，好似茶葉蛋都冇問題嘅。呢個
我已經聞到個湯。好彩你整咗好多啫。Okay.
So we'll have the water in there, and then next is we'll add sake.
我放清酒落去。
It also gives depth and it helps to absorb into the egg.
係咪最普通嘅就 cheap sake 嘅？
最 cheap sake 係 OK 嘅。
冇嗰啲幾千蚊出嚟。
唔使啊，冇啊！你因為你靜咗都 OK 嘅，即係如果你有啲揮發咗，
係 OK
都可以用。
即係總之有嗰種味喺度咧，嗰啲鮮甜味。
係，and yeah, a lot of this recipe is about 鮮味 umami, which is in sake, mushrooms, has all the and also the dried mushrooms and all the herbs and things. Has a lot of umami.
You got a lot of herbs that you're going to put in here.
Yeah.
I see you have some Sichuan peppercorns.
Yeah, which is one of my favorite spice. In Chinese cooking, we don't have that much spice, but I love adding Sichuan.
I think the Scandinavians will tell you that Chinese cooking has a lot of spice. But yes, I mean, I kind of understand what you mean.
Yeah.
But yeah, Sichuan peppercorn is, do you need like, I don't know if you would share this, but like how long do you need to practice with it to understand the right balance that you would use?
First of all, it varies from different kinds of Sichuan pepper, like green or the red. And I like to have half and half. And it also depends on how long you've been keeping it.
Yeah.
If you toast it a little bit, it's much nicer. I also make a spice oil at the restaurant, and I like taking out the seeds, actually. Just only taking the flavor of the pot itself and taking out the seeds so that it's not spicy.
So if we leave the seeds in, what have you found would happen to the...
Very spicy, too
like,
spicy.
overpowering
Yeah.
then?
And then you can't taste anything.
Yeah, I think that one of my difficulties that I've found in cooking is just finding the right, especially Sichuan peppercorns, is the balance between that numbing pepperiness and the sourness that it creates on your tongue, and then the spiciness, because each one can be overpowering of the other. So I find that very, very difficult to manage. But
how I like to judge is with aroma like that, I like to use the smell. Judge it by the smell.
Put it in your nose?
No, I mean like when you smell the pot, if you can smell the aroma but not taste it too much here. When you taste it at the tip of your throat, it's a little bit too much.
I see.
Yeah.
But that's a really good tip.
Yeah.
It's a really, really good tip. I'm going to use that tip. Again, 好多嘢塞錢落我袋. So happy.
So here I have the sake, mirin, and the soy sauce, and a little bit of brown sugar.
好，落啲啡糖.
And then we'll add the spices. So for the spices, you can use whatever you want. And I like the shiitake mushroom. This one we soak in water for 3 hours and slice it up. And then all the Sichuan pepper or whatnot. I've tried using like cumin or cardamom, cinnamon, all those really delicious spices as well. And it's amazing.
So there's cardamom, cumin, Sichuan peppercorns that's been soaking with the shiitake mushrooms.
Yeah, it's like a beautiful bath for
broth.
the egg. Yeah. So this we bring it to a boil and then we cool it down. And because of timing, we have one here prepared.
Nice.
So this one we've soaked the egg in here after it cooled down for 3 hours. So the egg has been boiled in just boiling water for 6.5 minutes. You have to use a timer for that. With these things, you always have to time it because you can't really peek through what's inside what's going on in the egg, and you want it to be runny. So use the timer.
6.5 minutes, 6分半，最緊要。
And then slowly peel it underwater.
Underwater.
Yeah.
OK，呢個係另外一個 tip 嚟嘅，就係話，如果你係想剝啲殼咧，剝到個隻蛋咧係咁靚嘅話咧，即係其實你係剝到好靚嘅件事。咁你就喺個凍水啊，凍水放個蛋落啲水度，室溫水，跟住就喺個水裡面搣殼。Tap water.
Because when the air bubbles and the water seeps through the shell, it's a lot easier to peel. When you have to peel like 100 at the restaurant, you'll think that's important.
We've all done that,
Yeah.
and it sucks.
So next, I'm going to take the egg out. This has been marinating, and then would you like to help me?
Oh, I can.
So we have the flour
I'm gonna
and
be-
egg, and then the
Ooh,
pancake.
I can be a Michelin star chef's commis today. The egg is taking a really nice color.
Yeah.
in that.
And I used a light soy sauce. For me, the light soy sauce, like the shiro soy sauce, has a lot more flavor, and it's not too salty. I don't
use
like
your
it when it's too salty. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, white soy sauce is constantly coming up as more of a fashionable soy sauce to use these days. And it's just quite different. I mean, you can't really consider it to be too much soy sauce or anything like light soy sauce, but it is very different. Like, she's like getting really nervous because it's like, you're making a mess, Christian. This is
No,
how
this
I work
part
in-
is always a mess. That's
Good.
why I asked him
I'm just
to
gonna
help
go
me.
quickly then. So I'm glad I can be practical and make a mess for you, chef. I haven't actually worked under a chef for so long. I'm getting nervous. Here you go. Chef, merci, chef.
Thank you, thank you. So here we have a beautiful egg that was coated and everything, and then we will
Coat
now
it some more.
deep fry it because I'm worried that it will explode. So actually, after you take it out of the marinade, you should pat it dry a little bit, and then do the coating. These are important, and then we will slowly deep fry it.
炸蛋。
炸蛋，係. But this part we have to make it quick. Yeah, because we don't want to cook the inside of the egg. We just want the beautiful golden crust on the outside.
即係油溫要好高㗎咯
係啊
喎。
，180度喎，差唔多。係啊，少少碌少少咯，熟咗就得㗎啦，出邊。
總之有個脆嘅皮包住佢咧，咁就件事就正啦。
And this is also such a good egg to have with salad as well. If you have a beautiful asparagus salad or even just any green spinach salad and add the beautiful egg, and it's so much more fulfilling.
Yes. Can I have one more egg with salad? You know, it balances it out, right?
Yeah. Okay, so that's done, and we will just soak it up here.
Oh, very nice. So extremely hot oil.
Extremely hot, yeah.
Any preference in oil that you're using?
I like grapeseed oil because it takes up a high temperature and it has not a lot of taste.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's my favorite too.
Yeah.
Like, it's just the fact that it doesn't have taste.
Yeah. So this is almost done. Ideally, you can boil it for a longer time at home if you may, depending on the mushroom. I cut it quite small today, so I don't need to boil it for a very long time. So I'm gonna add it into this blender now. Here,
Oh.
just put it here.
And this is a Thermomix, which heats and blends at the same time. If we don't have a Thermomix at home, can we just use a normal blender?
Yeah,
or a food
normal blender will
processor?
work, and also a hand blender will work as well
blender.
because there's no like very hard ingredients in there. So let's hope this is working.
Because hand blenders are notorious for breaking when you're making like lobster soup or something like that. Is this your kitchen's favorite tool?
Yeah, absolutely, and the Paco jet. When it works,
Did we
when
just?
we want it to work.
But we really like you. We really like. Can you work? Uh-oh.
Okay.
Maybe it's because I've got this aura of. If I leave,
Okay,
is it,
just stay there. Just stay there.
I'm not moving. I'm just gonna stay right here, and
When we
fiddle,
boil,
fiddle with the soup that's still in there, and pretend like it doesn't see me.
so this part we have to be very careful because it's very hot. I like to put a towel on top of the blender, just in case anything flies out.
Yeah, that is a very good tip. If you ever use a blender and 即係每次用，跟住有啲熱嘢喺裏面啦，blend 嗰陣時咧，佢會咁樣跌出嚟嘅，所以放個毛巾上去咧，咁就幫到手。
Just check on this.
I'm sure nobody heard any of what I just said. It's fantastic. It's nice to be ignored. You're doing really well though, machine.
So depending on how you like your soup, some people like it quite chunky. Even like when you buy like canned soup, there's
Chunks, I think. Yeah,
chunky
yeah, yeah.
ones or non-chunky ones. I like it quite smooth, so I'm gonna strain it. It's not really necessary always, but for this, I like to strain it.
咁如果你想有啲粒粒有啲口感咧，喺呢個湯裏面咧，咁你就唔需要隔渣噶啦。咁但係因為咧，我哋係 fine dining 啊嘛，咁啊 fine dining 係必定要去隔嘅啲渣。咁我哋呢個咧喺外國咧好笑啊！呢個嘢咧叫做 Chinese，Chinois 叫做 Chinese。咁我細個嗰陣時咧，我喺法國做嘢嗰陣時咧，佢哋成日叫我去叫啲人去攞個 Chinois，攞個 Chinese 過嚟，咁啲人就好笑咁樣成日攞我過嚟。But anyway, it's not about me 。喂，你係繼續煮喎。
哦，呢個完咗㗎，
可以熄
係可以熄咗佢。So if you want it extra smooth, you can just do this. and not push too much. But if you are okay with a little bit chunky, you can stir a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah, because when you're pushing it, you're actually pushing
some
the
sediments
stuff through,
and some
and it will
stuff
be less
through,
smooth.
Yeah, exactly. So for the sake of this demo, we will just leave this here for now.
Yes, that's for me. I
Because
like chunky.
it's going to take a while to strain. So I think we're ready for the plating.
Yes,
Yeah.
please. We'll move to the plating section.
Ooh, let me cut this a little bit.
Okay. Hold on, let's see if we can get a camera on you.
Okay. So I'll just to cut the top part. I like doing that because it shows how runny the egg is. But using a serrated knife might help.
That moment.
Oh. Okay, showing that on the plate is lovely.
So perfect.
Yep.
So perfect. And the great thing about that is I can eat that later. So if you have any questions for Vicky, please use the chat box and ask whatever you want. Anything we can answer, at least try. And just to plug again, if you are watching this on Facebook or watching this on the website, the official website, please feel free to share. Please feel free to go to your local market and buy whatever mushrooms you want, and then replay it again. Look into the archive, replay this demo, cook with Vicky. It'll be awesome.
I just demo a little bit of plating because people love watching my my plating skills at the restaurant. So it's nice to have a little bit
myself so that the
that.
beauty stays over there, and the beast stays over here, and you'll be all right.
So sometimes at home, of course you don't do this every day, but it's nice if you have some guests over if you want to impress them, if it's a special occasion, to do this. And then this has just some brown mushrooms, and then I like to put the egg on top. Just make sure it doesn't fall.
So you created like a fan pocket for the egg to sit in, or you're using some kind of kung fu to keep the egg up right now?
No, it's just from the panko. And if you have some herbs, it's nice to add some fresh herbs. We have some celery leaves, some chervil. I like this little bit spicy one. It's a quinoa, and it's got like a peppery smell and taste. So I love adding this as well. So just something simple.
I'm finding some of the markets that are having like very specialist shops that are selling these micro herbs as well. They're not that easy to find, but you can find them.
And you can have a plant at home, like a little bit of rosemary or mint plant, and then you can
talk to it every day.
Nurture it, and then also
please grow more leaves for me to eat.
So I like to serve it like that, and then pour the soup on the side. If you want to be fancy, just like that. And there you go, warm soup for the autumn. Thank you everyone for watching.
That's obviously mine, right?
Yes, of course. Yeah.
And she's stealing my lines. Thank you everyone for watching. So, if you want to watch again, please feel free to go on to masterclasses.discoverhongkong.com and rewatch it. And I think this is a pretty, you've really made it easy for everybody to follow and understand. And thank you so much for this.
Thank you.
Beauty and the Feast. So up next is Jamie Lowe for sake. So if you want to know more about sake, the beautiful Jamie Lowe will teach you about it. And sake is still extremely, extremely popular these days. So go and watch that. We then have the beautiful Sarah Heller, who will talk about champagne. And champagne is always a great time. Any occasion is a good occasion for champagne. And then we have Bernice Liu, who will be talking about women in the wine business, which is awesome because today is all about women, and I celebrate that. It's very good. I am a feminist in my heart. So if you want, you still have time. The next weekend, we still have a lot of masterclasses that we'll be doing, cooking masterclasses, amazing chefs, just like Vicky will be teaching amazing things. You have a chance to buy the ingredient packs that they'll be using, and just go onto the official website and click onto the class that you're interested in following and cooking along, and cook along with us. So from here, from now, and from the beauty, which is Chef Vicky Lau, thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you,
from
everyone,
Hong Kong
for
Wine and Dine Festival. Thank you so much, and I will now eat. Bon appétit.